Have you ever wondered why some women seem completely indifferent to men, even when they're surrounded by admirers? What drives these women to disregard the attention they receive? Well, we're not talking about just any woman here, we're talking about the Sigma female. In today's video, we're going to dive deep into the mind of the Sigma female and uncover why she might choose to ignore men, even when they're vying for her attention. If you're curious about the psychology behind this intriguing behavior, stay tuned, this is going to be a fascinating exploration. 1. Understanding the Sigma female personality. To fully grasp why Sigma females might ignore men, it's crucial to first understand who they are. Sigma females are often described as the rarest personality type. They're independent, self-sufficient, and prefer to live by their own rules rather than conform to societal expectations. Unlike alpha females, who thrive in social settings and seek leadership roles, Sigma females are more introverted and prefer solitude or the company of a select few. This preference for independence is a cornerstone of the Sigma female's personality. She doesn't need validation from others, and this includes men. Her sense of self-worth is not tied to external approval, making her immune to the usual tactics that might attract other women. This independence can often be mistaken for aloofness, but in reality it's just her way of protecting her peace and maintaining control over her life. 2. Prioritizing self-growth over relationships. One of the key reasons Sigma females might ignore men is their unwavering commitment to personal growth. They're often deeply focused on their careers, hobbies, or personal development projects. For them, time is a valuable resource, and they choose to invest it in activities that bring them closer to their goals. Relationships, particularly those that don't add significant value to their lives, can feel like a distraction. Sigma females are strategic about who they allow into their lives. If a man doesn't align with her values, ambitions, or intellectual depth, she's unlikely to prioritize him. This isn't to say that Sigma females don't value relationships, they do. However, they're incredibly selective about who they choose to invest their time and energy in, often leading them to ignore men who don't meet their high standards. 3. The Sigma female's need for autonomy. Autonomy is another critical factor that explains why Sigma females might ignore men. Unlike some women who may seek relationships to feel secure or validated, Sigma females find security within themselves. They are fiercely independent and often prefer to navigate life on their own terms. This desire for autonomy means that they're not easily swayed by romantic gestures or flattery. For Sigma females, the idea of being tied down or dependent on someone else can be suffocating. They cherish their freedom and are reluctant to compromise it for the sake of a relationship. If a man seems too controlling, needy, or if he imposes on her independence, she's likely to pull away and ignore him altogether. This isn't a game or a test, it's simply her way of preserving her autonomy. 4. Emotional intelligence and selective engagement. Sigma females are known for their high emotional intelligence. They're incredibly perceptive and can read people and situations with remarkable accuracy. This emotional intelligence allows them to quickly assess whether a man is genuine or if he has ulterior motives. If they sense dishonesty, manipulation, or a lack of sincerity, they won't waste their time. They're selective about who they engage with, and this selectiveness often leads them to ignore men who don't meet their emotional standards. In addition, Sigma females are not interested in superficial relationships. They crave deep, meaningful connections and are unwilling to settle for anything less. If a man fails to provide the emotional depth or authenticity she seeks, she'll simply disengage. This behavior is not about being rude or dismissive, it's about protecting her emotional well-being and ensuring that she only invests in relationships that truly matter. 5. The allure of mystery and independence. Another reason Sigma females might ignore men is the allure of mystery and independence that surrounds them. Unlike other women who might be more forthcoming or open in their interactions, Sigma females often maintain an air of mystery. They don't feel the need to explain themselves or reveal their every thought and emotion. This can be incredibly intriguing to men, but it can also be confusing. Men may find themselves drawn to a Sigma female's enigmatic nature, only to be met with indifference or a lack of responsiveness. This isn't because she's playing hard to get, it's simply because she values her privacy and doesn't feel the need to engage unless there's a compelling reason to do so. Her mysterious demeanor is a natural extension of her independence, and it often results in her ignoring men who try to get too close too quickly. 6. Avoiding drama and superficiality. Sigma females have little tolerance for drama and superficiality. They find these things exhausting and a waste of their precious time. Many men, especially those who are more immature or self-centered, might engage in behaviors that Sigma females find off-putting. Whether it's playing games, seeking attention, or creating unnecessary conflict, these actions are likely to lead to a swift dismissal. Sigma females prefer straightforward, honest communication. They don't have the patience for mind games or emotional manipulation. If a man brings drama into her life or exhibits shallow behavior, she's likely to ignore him completely. This isn't about being cold or heartless, it's about setting boundaries and protecting her emotional space from negativity. 7. The importance of intellectual stimulation. Intellectual compatibility is a non-negotiable for Sigma females. They're deep thinkers who thrive on meaningful conversations and the exchange of ideas. If a man can't keep up with her intellectually, she's unlikely to be interested, let alone engage. This is another reason why Sigma females might ignore men. They simply aren't stimulated by superficial or mundane topics of conversation. Sigma females are drawn to men who challenge them intellectually, who can engage in debates, and who share their thirst for knowledge. If a man fails to meet this intellectual standard, he'll likely be overlooked. It's not about being arrogant or elitist. It's about finding someone who resonates with her on a deeper level. 8. Protecting their inner peace. One of the most important aspects of a Sigma female's life is her inner peace. She values her mental and emotional well-being above all else, and she's highly protective of it. If a man disrupts this peace, whether through toxic behavior, excessive demands, or simply by being overly intrusive, she'll likely withdraw and ignore him. Sigma females have often gone through significant personal growth to achieve the sense of inner calm they cherish. They're unwilling to compromise this peace for anyone, no matter how charming or persistent a man may be. If a man poses a threat to her serenity, she'll cut him off without hesitation, prioritizing her well-being over any potential relationship. 9. The disinterest in conformity. Sigma females are non-conformists by nature. They don't follow societal norms or expectations just because it's the thing to do. This extends to their relationships as well. Traditional dating rituals, gender roles, and societal pressures to be in a relationship don't hold much sway over them. They ignore men who try to impose these norms on them or who fail to understand their desire to live life on their own terms. For Sigma females, it's crucial that their relationships reflect their values and individuality. If a man tries to push her into a conventional role or relationship structure that doesn't align with her beliefs, she'll likely distance herself. This is not about rejecting the idea of a relationship altogether, but about ensuring that any relationship she does engage in is authentic and true to who she is. 10. The focus on quality over quantity. Sigma females believe in quality over quantity in every aspect of their lives, including their relationships. They're not interested in casual flings or short-term romances. They seek deep, meaningful connections that can stand the test of time. Because of this, they're incredibly selective about who they allow into their lives, often ignoring men who don't meet their high standards. This focus on quality means that Sigma females are willing to wait for the right person, rather than settling for someone who doesn't align with their values and goals. They would rather be alone than in a relationship that doesn't fulfill them on a deep, emotional level. This patience and selectivity can lead to them ignoring men who don't make the cut. 11. Emotional resilience and boundaries. Sigma females are emotionally resilient. They've likely faced significant challenges in their lives and have developed strong boundaries as a result. These boundaries are crucial for maintaining their emotional health and well-being. If a man oversteps these boundaries or fails to respect them, she'll quickly put distance between herself and him. This resilience means that Sigma females are not easily swayed by emotional manipulation or pressure. They know their worth and are unwilling to compromise their values for the sake of a relationship. This steadfastness often results in them ignoring men who try to push them into situations they're not comfortable with. 12. The lack of interest in validation. Unlike some women who might seek validation from others, Sigma females derive their self-worth from within. They're confident in who they are and don't need external approval to feel good about themselves. This self-assuredness can often lead them to ignore men who try to win them over with compliments or flattery. Sigma females appreciate genuine connections, but they're not interested in superficial validation. If a man's attention feels insincere or is based on shallow compliments, she'll likely ignore it. Her focus is on finding someone who sees her for who she truly is, not just for her outward appearance or social status. 13. Independence is a core value. Independence isn't just a trait for Sigma females, it's a core value that defines how they approach life. They have a deep-seated need to be self-reliant and autonomous, which often leads them to avoid situations or people who might threaten that independence. This includes relationships where they feel their freedom could be compromised. Sigma females are not looking for someone to complete them, they are already whole. They want a partner who respects their independence and complements their life without trying to control or dominate it. When a man doesn't understand or respect this need for independence, a Sigma female will likely ignore him. She isn't interested in being someone's possession or project. She wants to be seen as an equal who brings just as much to the table as anyone else. 14. The desire for a true partnership. Sigma females seek true partnerships in their relationships. They are not looking for someone to take care of them or someone they have to take care of. Instead, they want a partner who is as independent and self-sufficient as they are. They value mutual respect, shared goals, and intellectual compatibility. If a man doesn't meet these criteria, she'll likely lose interest and ignore him. This desire for a genuine partnership means that Sigma females are willing to wait for the right person, rather than settling for someone who doesn't meet their standards. They're not afraid of being alone, so they don't feel pressured to enter into a relationship just for the sake of it. This high standard can be intimidating to some men, leading them to misinterpret her behavior as cold or indifferent when, in reality, she's just being selective. 15. The avoidance of superficial relationships. Superficial relationships hold little to no appeal for Sigma females. They're not interested in relationships that are based on physical attraction, social status, or other shallow factors. They crave deep, meaningful connections that are built on mutual respect, understanding, and shared values. If a man approaches her with superficial intentions, she'll likely see through it immediately and ignore him. Sigma females are more interested in a person's character than in their outward appearances or material possessions. They seek relationships where they can connect on a deeper emotional and intellectual level. If a man doesn't offer this depth, he's unlikely to capture her attention. This isn't because she's dismissive or judgmental, it's simply because she values substance over style. 16. A high standard for emotional maturity. Emotional maturity is a critical factor for Sigma females when it comes to relationships. They've often done a lot of personal work to reach a level of emotional intelligence that allows them to navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience. As such, they have little patience for men who display immaturity, inconsistency, or a lack of emotional control. Sigma females need a partner who can communicate effectively, handle conflicts maturely, and be emotionally supportive. If a man lacks these qualities, she won't hesitate to ignore him. For her, emotional maturity isn't just a bonus, it's a necessity. She's not interested in wasting time on someone who hasn't yet grown into his emotional self, as she knows this could lead to unnecessary drama and heartache. 17. The influence of past experiences. Like everyone else, Sigma females are shaped by their past experiences. Many Sigma females have learned the hard way about the importance of guarding their hearts and being selective about who they allow into their lives. If they've been hurt or betrayed in the past, they may be even more cautious when it comes to relationships. This caution can often result in them ignoring men who exhibit red flags or behaviors that remind them of past disappointments. They've learned to trust their instincts and are quick to distance themselves from anything that doesn't feel right. This isn't about being closed off, it's about being smart and protecting themselves from potential harm. Their past has taught them the value of self-preservation, and they take that lesson seriously. 18. The reluctance to play social games. Sigma females are direct and honest by nature. They don't have the time or patience for the social games that often accompany dating. Whether it's playing hard to get, pretending to be interested when they're not, or manipulating emotions to gain the upper hand, these tactics are a major turnoff for them. When faced with men who engage in these kinds of games, Sigma females are likely to ignore them completely. They value authenticity and straightforwardness and are turned off by anything that feels disingenuous. They want real, meaningful connections, not relationships that are built on manipulation or deceit. This no-nonsense approach often leads them to cut ties with men who don't match their level of honesty and integrity. 19. The fear of losing themselves in a relationship. One of the deep-seated fears that many Sigma females have is the fear of losing themselves in a relationship. Because they value their independence so highly, they're wary of relationships that might lead them to compromise their identity or autonomy. This fear can sometimes lead them to keep their distance from men, especially if they sense that a relationship could become too consuming or demanding. Sigma females want to be with someone who respects their individuality and encourages them to pursue their own interests and goals. If a man seems overly possessive, clingy, or tries to change them, they'll likely withdraw and ignore him. They've worked hard to build a life that they're proud of, and they're not willing to sacrifice that for the sake of a relationship that doesn't allow them to be true to themselves. 20. The importance of respect. At the core of every Sigma female's behavior is a deep desire for respect. They expect to be treated with dignity and regard in every aspect of their lives, including their relationships. If a man disrespects them, whether through words, actions, or by failing to acknowledge their boundaries, they won't hesitate to ignore him. Respect is non-negotiable for Sigma females. They won't tolerate being talked down to, manipulated, or taken for granted. They seek partners who see them as equals and who honor their strength, intelligence, and independence. When respect is lacking, Sigma females have no problem walking away, even if it means being alone. They would rather be single than be in a relationship where they're not valued for who they are. Conclusion: the strength behind the silence. The reasons why Sigma females ignore men are as complex and multifaceted as their personalities. From a deep need for independence to a high standard for emotional maturity, Sigma females are guided by values and principles that prioritize their well-being and personal growth. They are not cold or heartless, rather, they are discerning and selective, choosing to invest their time and energy only in relationships that truly enrich their lives. For men trying to understand a Sigma female, it's important to recognize that her behavior is not about rejecting you personally, it's about protecting herself and staying true to who she is. Respect her independence, engage her intellectually, and approach her with authenticity and emotional maturity. If you can meet her on her level, you'll find that she's not ignoring you at all. She's simply waiting for someone who understands and appreciates the depth and strength that define her. In the end, the Sigma female's apparent indifference is a reflection of her inner strength and self-assuredness. She knows what she wants and isn't afraid to wait for it. If you find yourself ignored by a Sigma female, take it as a challenge not to win her over with superficial charm, but to understand her on a deeper level and to grow into the kind of person who truly complements her in every sense.